Fee fi fo fum. I hear water. I want to drink it.
Yeah, to make sure that St. Rita and Bella are going first.
Oh, well, look at the pictures after you get down there.
Yeah, Bella. It's okay. I'm recording, so you could just go in and see stuff. Ooh, cave. Yes, I do. Ooh, it's orange. I'm gonna zoom in and see what's over there.
Watch your steps, Leo.
Nope, never mind. I'm not zooming in. It looks like a room. I think we're in Jurassic Park now.
Souvenir shop was all about bats, so I think we're actually in the bat cave.
Batman! I imagine you could go down there. But I'm not going to. It looks like, what does it look like? Like that, like a, not a room from Jurassic Park, but just like, it has that kind of, like, I don't know, I'm saying too much stuff. Ooh, the ground feels like a ground. Never would have expected that. Move through the door. Yeah. What's up? Oh, I wasn't listening. What did you say? Oh, that's why it looked yellow. Because there's yellow lights. Why are they so much brighter on camera? Like, that looks pretty dim to me. But it's bright on the camera. Why is that? Okay. Well, I like how it's just like straight down, like it's like all the same. I think we're on the Batcave runway. Batman's gonna fly his ship out. Yeah, everybody, let's go. Everybody to the sea line. Yeah, we're kind of holding up the line, guys. Imagine Dragons. Sin City. I am the glub glub gab glub, the trouble double wobble gobble flubble blah blah blah. No. Tiki tiki. Huh? Ooh. I think Batman lives down there. What is that? It's like a room. Ooh, it's the Aurora Borealis. I don't remember cave ground looking like this. Thank you, mysterious light that's definitely not coming from there. Oh. No. Okay. Why are we stopping here talking slow?
That's okay.
Congratulations on retirement, guys.
What?
Oh, it's the ancient Egyptians. They were down there. I don't know about over there, but
We're over. Way up there.
they disappeared.
I got it. Hold on.
We're not going that way? Okay.
Yo.
What's up? What's a pile of bones?
Alright.
What? It is. We went through a portal to Mars. also why it's kind of cold. Except it's not even cold at all. Ooh, tower. Man, imagine this being your Clash Royale base. Okay, now where is that coming from? I don't see it. Oh, found it. Ceiling. Oh, I didn't see that. Mysterious pipes. Mysterious sibling. What's up? And that is the end of your tour. Thank you for joining us. Oh, we're going down. Oh, my bad, Dad. Mysterious place. I think Batman lives up there. Sorry, Mr. Guacamole. Do not use the way back. Say wallahi, bro. Say wallahi. Many people. The one up there. Ooh, it's orange light up ahead. What?
Feels so good down here.
Yeah, I know.
I'd be happy if the truck of this tells her.
Yep. Wait, it doesn't?
No, we're in like 90s. Well, kids, we keep going slow. Our body's not adjusting.
Oh, right. That's right.
David, do you want me to hold that now?
What is it?
Do you want me to hold that?
Hold what?
My water bottle or you?
Oh, by the way, chat, I unlocked a new spawn point in some random hotel I found in the middle of nowhere. What is blood yapping about? It looks like a cave. Oh my days. Ooh, it's more pillars. Those were built by the ancient Aztecs. What'd you say? Oh my days.
Well, folks, you can feel free to keep looking around, keep taking photos anytime I'm speaking today. But now that you all made it down here, I feel as though I can finally welcome you all to Mammoth Cave. It seems like nearly everybody in our group has said this is your first time going out to Mammoth Cave National Park today, but I'm going to assume that just about everybody here has at least visited other national parks elsewhere in our country, right? To help me better understand your past experiences, your areas of interest, would anybody be comfortable sharing with us your favorite national park? You just shout it out. Zion, Olympic, Yellowstone, Glacier, Yosemite, Smoky, Grand Canyon, Crater Lake,
San Juan.
a big range.
A big basement.
The correct answer was Mammoth Cave. What's really special about every
Trying
place in
not
this
to be
name
smart ass.
is how different.
What?
Try.
You can see things out here today at Mammoth Cave, and my hope is that I can show you something underground that you can't see at any of those other places. Ultimately, that's the purpose of each of these parks, to protect, preserve,
Okay,
and
now I
so
know
unique
it.
you can't experience it anywhere else on the planet. Believe it or not, that unique aspect
It's pretty good.
is what you and I are looking at right now. Because every time we turn our heads throughout our tour,
I'll
we will
upload it
always
on
be
YouTube,
gazing
then
at the
delete it.
longest cave system on our entire planet. Currently mapped at just over 426 miles in length. I do have to say currently because we still have not found an end to Mammoth Cave. About once a month on average, explorers from the Cave Research Foundation are down here continuing to work, continuing to uncover passageways where nobody has ever set foot before. Because of that, if any of you return in the future, I can't guarantee you will ever hear that 426 mileage again. We should have a brand new number as they keep exploring and mapping miles and miles to the seemingly never-ending natural wonder where we now stand. Perhaps needless to say, it has taken decades and centuries of exploration for us to become the longest cave in the world. And that means that when the first visitors came here in 1816, they had no idea this was the longest cave. If you roll the clock back just a few decades, right around 1790, when the first early American settlers found that same historic entrance, they had no idea if there was even 1 mile inside the cave. They came down the same way we did, only using candles and lanterns to guide their exploration. And as they got to rooms like where we stand now, these settlers would have looked up in awe. You'll have to understand, for a pioneer who had spent their entire lives living out in a one-room cabin, suddenly a place like this was the largest interior structure they had ever witnessed. And as they looked up in that awe, they would have said this cave is huge, it's giant, it's mammoth. And that's the name of the stuff. Never any hairy elephants down here. Just a name to me, a really, really big cave, very appropriate for what we now understand to be the longest cave in the world. Years after that, it was just a simple curiosity that brought those settlers back time and time again, that started the tourism in 1816. And I would like to think maybe it's that same curiosity that continues to bring all of you out here today. Because of that, I always like to give you all an early opportunity. Do you have any initial questions or curiosities? Is there anything you want to know about Mammoth Cave before we talk about anything else, before we head any deeper into the cave system?
What's the largest room?
What's the largest room in the cave? So the largest passageway that we're going to walk through, we just moved through a moment ago. That big room where you saw some of those wooden structures in the center, that's a space called the Rotunda. That is the 6th largest room inside the cave. It's about half an acre in size. The biggest room in the entirety of the system would be a spot called Chief City. It's about 2 acres, so 4 rotundas all sitting next to each other. We'll pass through the rotunda again as we exit, so you can have a little bit of a better perspective on that. You would see Chief City on a Violet City tour if you ever wanted to see the biggest room that we tour inside the cave. Violet City. Yeah.
Well, then the competing caves back in the day, were any of them as large? Any or were the openings smaller and the interior smaller?
That's a great question. So how do other caves in the area kind of size up? How do they compare next to Mammoth Cave? She's really referring to a time period that some of you may have read about up in the museum in the Visitor Center, that you may have heard about on other tours, a time period known as the Kentucky Cave War. After tourism began here in 1816, Mammoth Cave became extremely popular, very profitable. It's said throughout the 19th century, Mammoth Cave was the 2nd most popular tourist attraction in North America, second only to Niagara Falls. A ton of people, and therefore a ton of commerce, were coming to this region all because of Mammoth Cave. And you have to imagine every local in the area started to wonder, if Mammoth Cave could become world famous just because they had a hole in their backyard, maybe I could replicate that same success because there are caves all over this region. So throughout this Kentucky Cave Wars time period, the late 1800s to the early 1900s, there were about 20 to 30 privately owned and operated separate cave tour operations. Many of them were much smaller than Mammoth Cave is. A lot of those are what we would call show caves. If you visited other caves in your lifetime, you were probably seeing a show cave. It's something that's highly decorated, meaning there are thousands of stalactites and stalagmites growing through it, so it's very beautiful to look at, but it's never very significant in size. Truthfully, those two go hand in hand. We love to see stalactites and stalagmites, but when they break, if you've toured caves that have all these formations in the past, I have no doubt they were beautiful to look at, but they were never very significant in size. Mammoth Cave, on the other hand, because as you can tell, we do not have very many stalactites and stalagmites in our system. That's why we get to be so big. That's why we get to be the longest cave on the planet. So most of the caves in the region are very small by comparison. A few of the privately toured caves we discovered decades later on actually do connect to Mammoth Cave. So some of them are actually part of the same system, we just didn't know at the time, but by and large, many of them are much smaller compared to this. Still today, with the national park established, we have the world's long 400 plus miles of mapped so far. We're all created by underground rivers flowing through here, washing the limestone mineral away, eroding great big tunnels like what we're walking through. Whenever it was being formed, you wouldn't want to imagine it being completely submerged floor to ceiling at any one time. Instead, it was a shallow river starting off towards our ceiling, slowly chewing the layers of rock down one at a time, just like the Grand Canyon. This is just a Grand Canyon with a roof on it here. As that water digs down deeper into the earth, it abandons the rocks above it. And those rocks have previously been supported by the buoyancy of that water. Without the extra help, it is quite literally the make or break time for the cave. Some rocks can take the pressure, some can't. They buckle, they crack, they come crashing down to the floor where they still surround us today. Every boulder, every loose stone you see to the side of our trail, once upon a time, was up on the ceiling before it came crashing down here. Now, when the weaker rocks fall away, they leave behind a very strong shape. You can see it in either direction here. You'll see it throughout our tour. They leave behind the shape of an arch. The walls of the ceiling come out further than they do at the floor. That arch is a very structurally sound, safe shape. It's capable of standing the weight of about 150 feet of earth above our heads in this spot. If these weaker rocks would have broken away and created a shape different than ours, this passage would have collapsed as it was being formed. That's why we're so confident coming down here every day. Rocks can still potentially fall within Mammoth Cave today, but it's very unlikely because there has to be an external force strong enough to make that happen. Back in the day, the rivers were that external force, but now that they've gone down deeper and this has dried out, I think you all can see we don't have very many external forces. The temperature stays constant throughout the cave. We have no forces of weather at play down here. In a spot like this, we are deeper than you will generally feel the effects of earthquakes in this part of the country. In this region, you normally won't feel seismic activity more than 70 feet beneath the surface. Right now, we're more than double that. There could be an earthquake taking place over our heads this very moment, and we would not feel it at this depth inside the cave. Without any external force strong enough, there's nothing to make a rock fall on our tour, and that is to say no person has ever witnessed a rock naturally falling in Mammoth Cave history. All of that being said, I know you do understand you are taking this tour through the National Park Service, part of the federal government, so obviously we have to do everything by the book here. We have to cover all of our bases legally speaking. So I know a lot of you probably saw the disclaimer at the bottom of your ticket. It does say, if you were to be struck by a falling rock inside Mammoth Cave, you would be fully covered by that rock. Do we have any other questions? If y'all are ready, let's continue a little bit deeper into the cave. Talk about what it was like in those first explorers.
I thought those were bats, but I was wrong.
Nah, those not bad. Oh, yes. It's a cave. And I don't know nothing about that. Why are we going up? I don't want to go up. Why am I recording this? Does that all make any sense? Oh, yeah, well, I can't.
This is too dark.
No, it's not. It's perfectly fine. Oh, wait. What if I make it brighter? That didn't work. Oh, wow, that's going up.
What is that right there?
What is that? I don't know. Looks like something. Ooh, I bet you Batman lives up there. Mom, look, it keeps going over there. That way. It keeps going.
I don't know if I got it.
Well, I got it on videos. Oh, we're not going up that way? Good.
I'll get a picture of it. Oh, wow.
It's kind of dark up there.
That's cool.
That was made by the ancient Egyptians. King Tut. Oh. Well, can't you just go over there and squat down? Well, it's not true. I wasn't listening. That's all I heard.
The restricted area was for the employee arcade only.
What?
What were we joking?
Oh, I still don't know what you said. I mean, I was listening, but then I wasn't. I gotta hold up my shorts because I got a water bottle in there. Water bottle. Oh.
Maybe they were little there.
I bet you race cars come out of those holes.
I just found this for the first time. It's totally dark.
It's a pirate ship. That's Jack Sparrow's pirate ship.
Little helmet.
On your phone.
Mom, I already talked about this. I'm gonna post it and then delete the video. It's still on YouTube, but not in my phone storage.
Are you recording that too?
Oh yes, I didn't want to not. Nah. I'm gonna get like 5 views anyway. Oh, the light decided to show up. Oh, it's another entrance to something. What if that's the Bat Cave?
Wait, there's signs.
What? There's no signs up there. Oh, we're going into the depths of Tartarus.
And people may somehow with their guys.
I bet you Bingleton Coochie Smith is gonna walk out of there.
Could be.
Now he's gonna crawl out of there.
Yeah.
I accidentally nuked France.
Will stop?
No. Rock.
Stop you.
What? I'm not even running into you. It just happens to be that this pathway is not very big. For us. Are you coming to the tree? What? Bet you mini race cars come out of those. That's just the hole. A rabbit lives down there.
The one in South Dakota we went through at my parents' slow. Yeah,
I live behind that rock.
we took forever. That was maybe a tenth of the size. It was slower.
Well, it looks like a cave. I wonder why that is.
Yeah, I know.
Here in the wild of the cave is a very large cave. And inside of this large cave is a human. Not a normal human, but one who spawned in 100,000 years ago.
Look at that rock.
You can't eat eggs. I can eat all the eggs I want because I have 100,000 levels on Battle Royale. Wait, what?
Hold on, just go ahead past
That's not even the right thing.
Okay.
My bad. Battle Royale is now a game.
We're
Because
going
I
down,
decided it was. Oons, 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 oons. Onion ring. Yay, darken it. Oh.
Oh, it has a name on it.
What?
What's that mean?
Kozad? It says Kozad. I'm sorry, you're just walking very slow.
Well, you are.
As we were making our way through the cave to this destination, we had an inquiry up at the front about the wooden structures I have no doubt many of you noticed inside the cave. Those are the remnants of a saltpeter mining operation that took place from about 1810 to 1850. It may not surprise you to hear that when the first settlers found Mammoth Cave, tourism was not their first idea of what to do with this place. They were a little bit more practically minded. They looked to Mammoth Cave to see if it could be used as a resource to increase their chances of survival. And as they explored these passages, they found that the dirt within the cave was extremely rich in nitrates. That is what makes the saltpeter. And I wonder, does anybody here know what saltpeter makes? Gunpowder, absolutely. Something very useful to have out here on the frontier, but something very important to have whenever the War of 1812 would begin just a few years later. It's important for you to understand whenever we just have saltpeter mining inside the cave, nobody was ever down here with pickaxes or dynamite blasting apart this rock. Once again, the cave walls, the ceilings, all the structure we explored today was created naturally by those underground rivers we described. The only thing that changed in the saltpeter mining is the exact level of the dirt, as it was dug up, processed, hauled away, so we may stand a few feet lower than we should have originally. In 1815, the War of 1812 ended, trading resumed as normal, and suddenly there was no more value in hauling all the dirt out of here. There was certainly no value in hauling the equipment back. That's what the wooden structures are, the original tools used in that saltpeter mining operation. Once again, we'll have another chance to see those as we exit the rotunda if you didn't get a good look on our way in. With the saltpeter mining ending in 1815, suddenly the cave owners lost all their revenue. They weren't making a profit off this place anymore. To accomplish that again, they were going to have to pursue a new venture, and that's why the following year, 1816, we see the very first cave tours being led down here. Needless to say, that is the legacy that stuck. That is a tradition that you and I get to continue on right now. But I think you all understand that first tour in 1816 was a bit different than how we're doing it today. They did not see the cave in the same way you and I are seeing it. They did not have the paved trail, or the metal handrails, or the luxury of the electric lights. When they walked through here, they were climbing across piles of loose stone like these next to us, sliding down into pits, pushing themselves through the tiniest of gaps, and they did it all with no more light than a lantern that you see right here. Can you imagine what it would be like with just a small flame like this to try to explore Mammoth Cave? Luckily, I don't think we should have to imagine that. Let's see it for ourselves. This is what your tour would have been like. Electricity did not become widespread until the 1950s, a decade after we became a national park. For over 150 years of our tourism, the only way you could experience Mammoth Cave was with a lantern just like this. That's true for the visitors coming here on tours, true for the explorers trying to map out new sections, but especially true for the people we're going to talk about in just a moment. Here in a little bit, once we get the big lights back on, we're going to continue further into the extended portion of our historic tour. We're going to leave behind this paved surface and end up on a rougher dirt trail, and as we round in a corner, we're going to approach perhaps the most unique artifact in all of Mammoth Cave. We're going to approach the home of the only people we can ever say lived within these walls. I want to tell you more of their story once we actually get to the place of their residence, but as we're talking about them, remember this lantern, remember what it looks like. For the people who lived down here months on end, a flame like this was the only way they could interact with the world around them. Tours would come by and they would ask them what was happening on the surface because they were stuck down here inside the cave. Imagine what your life would be like if this was the only light you had to interact with for months on end. Imagine what it was like whenever it was finally time for you to go to sleep inside the cave and it was time for you to turn your light out.
Wow.
Well, welcome to Mammoth Cave, folks. In a darkness like this, you don't know if it's morning, noon, or night. If you'd open your eyes, you'd be hard-pressed to tell that you'd even lifted your eyelids. This type of darkness is what surrounded those people down here constantly. It is the same darkness you and I get to look at right now. If you folks have any questions about that, just raise your hand for me. I'll get our big lights back on for us. Do we have any questions, any curiosities before we continue further on inside the cave?
Did they line the trails with candles so they could find their way around?
They did not line the trail with candles. Again, they're going for
I got
miles
it.
inside. Simply too many candles. Visitors would have been holding a lantern just like this as he had. Even those people living down inside the cave, if they wanted to leave the hut where they lived, they just had a lantern to carry with them.
What's the do you know what like the earliest date that's on that big rock of like people?
Great question. So you're starting to see some signatures on the walls and ceilings all around us here. These are left behind by people just like you and me, left behind by guides and visitors coming out here. Again, if you can imagine what it was like to be one of the first visitors here, traveling for maybe days or weeks by stagecoach to get to this place, coming all the way down to the cave with your lantern, going for miles across these rocks, the thought occurred to those earliest visitors that they wanted to leave their mark behind. They wanted future generations to know what they had accomplished. And they asked their guides, would it be possible for me to leave my mark behind by etching my name into the very walls of Mammoth Cave itself? And those earliest guides would have said, absolutely not. They understood that this was a natural wonder of the world. They didn't want it to be detracting from the beauty here, so they said no signatures allowed. And those earliest visitors thought about it, and they said, what if I pay you? And your guide said, right here's a great spot to sign your name. So because of that, you will see very old signatures throughout our tour. There are several right here, but I think the most prominent one that we can see is J. and McDowell, 1839. That is a genuine artifact, a signature left behind by a visitor who was here nearly 2 centuries ago. Needless to say, that's something that changed once we became a national park. In 1941, we said no more signatures allowed, no matter what, tip or otherwise. We decided it's better to preserve the natural beauty of this cave. So because of that, you will see 2 classifications to the signatures throughout our journey. Anything you see like this, dated before 1941, is what we consider to be historic graffiti. It's a remnant from when this practice was allowed. Anything dated after 1941 is what we would call a federal offense. So actually, like Bob in 1967, Bob shouldn't have done that. Please don't be a Bob today on our
How do you get up there? How do you get up there and then they not stop him?
So back in the 1960s and 70s, large portions of this route were self-guided. There would be rangers stationed throughout the cave, but for the spaces in between, you had no one watching you. Today, we get to be together because of that. Okay. Certainly, you will see hundreds, if not thousands, of these names throughout the cave. In a little bit, you'll even start to see some done with soot burnt into the cave walls and ceilings. Those are almost exclusively from the 1800s. So we will see some very old signatures as we pass through.
Has there ever been a power disruption?
Has there ever been a power outage? Yeah, absolutely, all the time. As the lights go out on the surface, they go out down here. I'll say it is pretty exciting whenever it happens, but of course, Ranger Kristen and myself, we both have multiple sources of light on us. We have electric lanterns stationed throughout the cave, and I think the big one, everybody has a flashlight on their smartphone. So, lights out were a bigger issue maybe a couple decades ago, but now we still get out just fine. Did you have a question? What's your question?
Why is on the word up there that
That's a great question. I think some of you may have seen this one. This is maybe the most obvious signature here. We have a big one called Kozad right here. Does anybody here know what Kozad is?
No.
Yeah, we don't either. Ultimately, we only know if somebody left their full name, the year they came here. Sometimes we can figure out who they were through research. Whether they just left a word, something like that, we don't know for sure. We know there's a Kozad, Nebraska. Maybe it was the founder of the town coming through here. But otherwise, we have no idea. If they didn't leave enough information, a lot of these people are just like us, maybe just passing through the cave once in their lives. If they didn't leave enough of a record, we still don't know who they are. If y'all are ready, I'm going to jump up to the front. We are going to head towards that very unique artifact, the homes of people who lived inside the cave. I will reiterate, whenever we approach them, you're welcome to look through the doorway to get a good look at the interior of this home, but certainly keep your hands to yourself. Do not touch these artifacts. Just a little bit, we're also going to transition from the pavement to that dirt trail. Make sure you're watching your step as we continue ahead.
Oh. That's it, that one.
oh maybe because
Oh. Ooh, rocks. Oh, it's this is all rock. Okay, come there.
I'll be right there.
Oh, okay, bye, Mom.
Yeah.
I wish I recorded this horizontal, but I didn't. So, wait. Yeah. Oh, is it a house?
Maybe it was like only 10.
I see. Yep.
We'll make sure everybody gets a chance to see this structure right here, but while you're taking a look, let me explain to you why these people were living down here in the depths of Mammoth Cave. We already described earlier that throughout the 19th century, Mammoth Cave was extremely popular, extremely profitable. Because of that, we see ownership of the cave change private hands time and time again. Perhaps the most important transaction took place in 1839. That is whenever Mammoth Cave was purchased by a man named Dr. John Cron. Now, Dr. Cron had no intention of stopping that tourism. That was simply making him too much money. But he was hoping to give Mammoth Cave a greater purpose, and he was a doctor. He believed that this cool, clean cave air you and I have been breathing throughout our tour today had some healing properties to it. He thought it could provide relief to a respiratory illness that had been affecting humanity for thousands of years. Known by different names throughout its history, sometimes called the White Death. During Dr. Cron's time, it was known as consumption. For us today, we would call it tuberculosis. Dr. Cron believed that if you lived down here inside the cave and breathed this cave air, that it could cure that sickness. To test his hypothesis, he had about 10 huts constructed down here inside the cave and invited a little over a dozen tuberculosis patients to live down here. These are the only people we can ever say truthfully lived within Mammoth Cave. Some of them stayed for only a few weeks before they left, but many of them stayed for several months. This was their last chance, their last hope of getting better, so they were willing to stay down here as long as it took. I don't think I need to tell you folks, Mammoth Cave did not cure tuberculosis. The air we breathe down here is exactly the same as the air on the surface. There's a constant circulation going through, it just gets cooled down here. So certainly, this air did not have any curing properties to it, so ultimately all those patients did pass away from that sickness. The patients who left after a few weeks went back home to pass away with their loved ones, but the ones who stayed here as long as they could ultimately passed away in huts like the one you're standing next to right now. Many of those patients are still buried on park property up on the surface. Across from the lodge, the hotel from the visitor center, there's the old guide cemetery. Many of the tuberculosis patients are buried there, buried 6 feet beneath the surface, about 140 feet above our heads right now. Dr. Cron himself would go on to pass away from tuberculosis some years later. So certainly the experiment was marked as a failure, but it did help to get us closer to a solution. After a cool, moist cave like this didn't work, they started moving sanitariums out to more arid conditions out west. So progress was made, just not in the way they hoped. I think whenever we hear a story like this, we understand it's pretty obvious that this was not going to cure tuberculosis. So we may have trouble relating with that line of thought, but I think we can relate to these huts in a little bit of a different way, maybe a way that people just a decade ago never really thought of, because all of us in this group, we lived through something of a quarantine ourselves. And I would ask you to remember that time period whenever you were cooped up and think about what you missed out on. You probably missed graduations and family reunions, maybe births, maybe funerals. I think what you missed more than anything, you missed your friends, your family. You missed out on seeing your loved ones. The feelings you had during our quarantine, I think may be the exact same way that the patient who lived in this stone hut would have felt as they were down here in the darkness of the cave. The only difference, you and I escaped our quarantine. The patients who lived here never did. I think we can look back on that a little bit more empathetically than visitors just a decade prior would have ever looked at these. You will see, we have this hut standing right next to us. There's another hut in a greater state of disrepair a little bit further down the trail. You can see that from here. We're not going to step down to it ourselves. It's a little bit delicate, a little bit more fragile. We want to make sure everybody has a chance in the back to step up here and see further down. So if you folks have already seen the huts, I'm going to actually invite you to step up here with me. We're going to loop back to where we came from. We're just going to take this little side trail back, make sure everybody in the back has an opportunity to see what we're looking at right here. But if y'all are ready, follow me this direction.